Alright guys, I am live here on YouTube. I would go over a few things here. Adjust my screens if you don't mind. Here we go. And I thought I would talk about parents who have kids under the ages of 18. I think it's crucial that if you have a kid under the age of 18 that you take the 10 to 15 minutes to fill out a life insurance application. Spend the $50 a month to make sure that you have coverage in place. Yeah, it's really inexpensive. It's really affordable. If you have a life insurance policy, then it is going to put your family in a lot better situation as opposed to you not having one. And that's one of the biggest things, in my opinion. I think if you do have a kid that is under 18, that you should 1000% have a policy in place. Just pulling up my chat here. Trying to get these screens organized, and I apologize. Alright, so yes, if you have a kid under the age of 18, you should 1000% have a life insurance policy in place. I just think it's crucially important. I see a lot of GoFundMes, and I look at obituaries, and I look at obituaries, and I look at. Let me see one thing here, guys. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm adjusting things still here. I had to change my settings back from Facebook, from my streaming software. Let me try to get this. Yes. Okay. There we go. I think I got that. And I'll add this too. I'm going to add myself here. I'm going to put myself in the bottom left so I'm not blocking the view of anyone. Alright, so yes, I think it's crucially important that people who have kids under the age of 18 have a life insurance policy in place for several reasons. The least not that one, it is very fast, it's very affordable. Two, if something happens to you, then your kids are taken care of, your spouse is taken care of. Of all the times where you need life insurance, when you have kids, it's absolutely crucial that you have a life insurance policy in place just to make sure they are taken care of. So I'm going to pull up a quote for a 35-year-old male in excellent health just to show you how inexpensive this truly is. And if you have any questions about life insurance, feel free to ask them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them honestly and truthfully. But my goal is to end GoFundMe and to make sure every parent with kids under 18 has a policy. That is my passion in this business. That's really important to me. But this is a quote for a 35-year-old male in excellent health condition for $500,000 worth of coverage for 30 years. So while the kids are growing up, while he's paying off the mortgage, while he's building up his retirement account, this is how much it costs for $500,000 worth of coverage for a 35-year-old male. 30 years, $33.95. Let's say that he only wanted 20 years, he was going to plan to pay off the mortgage and the kids are going to be out of the house in the next 20 years. 20-year policy, $19.92. It's insanely inexpensive for what it does, right? Like if parents actually sat down and they thought about their mortality, like, hey, what happens to the family if I die tomorrow? Like if parents actually sat down and thought about that, I know it's painful to think about that. Nobody wants to think about them not being there for the kids or the family, but if they thought about that, every parent in the U.S. would have a policy. Unless they were a multimillionaire, they couldn't afford the $19 a month, or if there were some health conditions that would exclude them from this type of coverage. But yeah, it's my firm belief that they would all have it. This is a situation where they're in excellent health. let's say they're just in very good health, maybe they're taking a few medications, maybe they're overweight, it would be $25 a month. And if they're just they're taking multiple medications, they're really overweight, not obese or anything, it would be $33.56 a month. So it's really affordable. GoFundMe would go out of business almost instantly if this were in effect. Hey Jay, what's going on? Jay, how are you? Do you have any questions? Sorry, I'm just doing my daily spiel, trying to convince parents to get life insurance if they have kids under 18. So um, that is truly my passion in life insurance, if you can have a passion. You're not old enough to get life insurance? All right, Jay. Well, that's fine. You, well, when you are old enough, when you have kids, just remember me, okay? When you have those 3 kids, yeah, just remember me. I got another person joining the chat. If you have any questions about life insurance, I was just going over, how inexpensive it is, how fast and easy it is to apply and get coverage, how GoFundMe would go out of business if parents sat down and thought about their mortality and what would happen to the family if they weren't around. So in this example, I was pulling up a quote for a 35-year-old male, $500,000 worth of coverage for 20 years, $19 a month, or close to $20 a month, but so affordable, and it provides so much coverage for families. It takes longer to set up a GoFundMe than it does to fill out an application. It takes longer to watch one of your favorite TV shows than it does to fill out an application. Like if you've got a fantasy football team or basketball team or whatever, it takes longer for you to research and set up your roster than it does to fill out a life insurance application. So, yeah, Jay is not old enough to get life insurance, but he is going to be my client when he has kids. So, there we go. All right, and I lost someone there, but that's fine. Yeah, like if anyone has any questions about it, feel free to ask. I'm going to be here for a little while, and be more than happy to answer them. But one thing that really hurts is when I check the obituaries every single day. Every single day I check the obituaries, and if you look, if you look at the obituaries, you see like young parents passing away. You see people that that thought they were going to be here today or this week, and they're just not, right? You see a lot of young parents pass away unexpectedly, and it's heartbreaking, especially when you see a GoFundMe or something like that, because the GoFundMe is only going to cover the funeral costs. It's not going to cover all of the other things. It's not going to cover the mortgage. It's not going to cover any of the other stuff. You see like young people here all the time. They pass away. You see some older people, obviously, but you see moms, you see dads, you see all of these people that pass away unexpectedly, and a lot of times you see the GoFundMe's, and that's heartbreaking, just because the money's not going to last them very long. It's not going to last very long. If you once you pay for the funeral, it's pretty much it. This person, take a look here. Okay. Loving father, it's just heartbreaking. I mean, this is so avoidable. It only takes 15 to 20 minutes to fill out the application, and what, $20 to $50 a month to get coverage. It's just so inexpensive, and it does so much for families that I don't understand why every family doesn't have a policy like this in place. Currently, I think half of the parents out there don't have life insurance, or they only have $50,000 through work. But this is actual quotes from an actual company that shows you the actual price, and as you can see, it's really inexpensive to cover your family for an extended period of time. And if you have kids, that's where I focus exclusively, almost exclusively, on parents who have kids under 18. That's where it's needed the absolute most. If you're married and you don't have any kids, you're two adults, I think you should have something, but hey, that's your decision at the end of the day. The same thing if you have a mortgage and there are no kids, you don't have anything to protect that. Yeah, I don't agree with it, but I can kind of understand it. But when you have kids, like it's almost imperative that you you spend the 15 to 20 minutes to fill out an application and spend the $20 to $50 a month to get coverage. All right, so I lost a few people there. Let's see here. All right, and I'm not. All right, I don't have anyone on here currently. But if anyone has any questions about life insurance, I am in fact live, and I will be more than happy to answer those questions. And actually, I will include my link into the description. So if you wanted to get a quote from Banner Term, there are other life insurance companies out there by all means. I think Banner Term is hands down the best, but there are other companies out there that also offer life insurance. A couple that have similar prices, but I don't consider them the same caliber, but they are good. Other companies are Pacific, Prudential. Those are fairly good companies, but as far as term life insurance, I think Banner Term is the best. All right, I got a viewer here. Do you have any questions about life insurance or anything in general? I was just going on my my daily rants about if you have kids under the age of 18 that you should have a life insurance policy, especially if they depend on you for income. I was just doing a quote here to show how inexpensive it actually is and how quick the application can be done. But I am open to any and all questions. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there with life insurance. There's a lot of spam calls. There's a lot of fake advertisements. So I am here to answer any and all questions. If you're a senior citizen and you're not looking for a term policy, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have in those regards as well. Or you can watch. I can get through my spiel again. I think it's crucial that if you have kids under 18 that you should have a life insurance policy. Um, I think the biggest issue why people don't have it is because they never sit down and think about what happens to the family if they die. Because it's really hard to do that, right? You want to imagine that you're always going to be there for your family, but the reality of the situation is 850 kids every single day in the United States that are under the age of 18. So 850 kids a day under 18 lose a parent, and half of those parents don't have anything in place. Anything in place to help the family, pay the mortgage, pay the bills, raise the kids. So it's half of those parents that are lost every day don't have anything in place. And it's so avoidable. Like the only times where you might not consider a life insurance policy is one, it's unaffordable. As you can see here, a 35-year-old can get a policy for $20 a month. Get a smaller policy for less, obviously. So affordability is, I'm not sure if that would be relevant for most people. Two, if you've got major health conditions that exclude you from these type of policies, that would be another reason why you wouldn't get it. Or if three, you are a multimillionaire and your family losing you wouldn't have a financial impact on them. So those are the only three instances where I can think where it's justified not to have a policy in place if you have kids under the age of 18. But yet again, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them. If you have questions about final expense or burial insurance, it is that time of day where a lot of senior citizens are home as opposed to young parents. Most of them are probably working, or if there's some stay-at-home parents that have questions, that's This is an open forum, and I'd be more than happy to answer those questions. See, now you're going to put me on the spot, right? You're watching, but you're not saying anything. Okay. Well, this is for a 35-year-old male in excellent health condition, $250,000 worth of coverage for $13 a month. And let's say you can't afford $13 a month. You can get $100,000, which is $100,000 better than $0 for $9 a month. That's how inexpensive it is to get this coverage. I think the most common policy amount is $500,000. Now, to do the mathematics on how much you should get, there's a couple trains of thought on this. One is 10 to 12 times your income. The idea is that the death benefit, the amount of money your family gets, is going to be tax-free. Your income is taxed. So that 10 to 12% or 10 to 12 times your income will be invested, and the money you get out of that investment will supplement their or replace your income for the family. Another train of thought is if that price is too much for you, is to get enough to cover the cost of the mortgage, the debt, like credit cards, cars, all the consumer debt, to get a policy in place that will cover all of that. So the surviving family members, surviving spouse, would be able to afford living just on their income. That's another train of thought. Both of them are valid and depends on your situation, obviously, but yeah, the biggest thing I'm trying to get parents to do is to actually sit down and think about what happens to the family if they pass away. If every parent did that, GoFundMe, there would be no need for GoFundMe because every parent would have a policy in place. So that is pretty much it. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them. I'm sorry, I'm not as entertaining as some of the other lives. I think there's people doing music. There's some dude dressed as a clown talking about politics. I'm not sure what that's about, but this is for life insurance. So if you have any questions at all, if you want to get a quote yourself, I put my link in there. That is my link for Banner Term. You would be my client if you submitted that application. I would like to talk to you at some point if you do decide to use my link. If you don't want to use my link, if you say, hey, this guy sucks, you can go directly to Banner Term and also accomplish the same thing. I see $0 in referrals, commission, or anything else. It's about making sure parents with kids under 18 have something in place. So, and let's say if someone is a little bit older, what would that cost them? If they were a little bit older than 35, what would it cost for them to get insurance? Let's take a look. Let's say someone's 45. They're 20 years away from retirement. All right, I lost my viewer. I'm very disappointed in losing that viewer, by the way. Yeah, I've done videos on the top 20 most asked questions. More than likely, if you have a question about life insurance, I've done a video on it in some way, shape, or form. I usually, every day I usually answer the top 20 questions about life insurance. So those have been answered. I think one of the best questions I had was, can you name your dogs as the beneficiary of your life insurance policy? Which I thought was a great question, and the answer is no. You can't name your dog as your beneficiary to your life insurance policy. But if you pick someone to take care of your dogs, you can name them as a beneficiary for a life insurance policy, or you can set up a trust for the person who is going to take care of your dog. But leaving your dog as a beneficiary is not allowed. If that were the case, I would have a policy for my dogs as well. But yeah, welcome one viewer. I'm just going through answering some questions about life insurance that I've come across. I've gone over the fact that my goal here is to make sure as many parents with kids under 18 have a policy in place, just because it's inexpensive, it's fast, and it provides a lot of coverage for the family. The biggest obstacle that I see with parents getting life insurance is the fact that none of them or most of them don't sit down and think about what happens to the family if they were to go away, because no one plans it, right? but 850 kids every single day that are under the age of 18 lose a parent, and half of those parents don't have life insurance in place. All right, so I'm going to keep talking about life insurance. I guess I can just repeat the same thing every time someone hops in, but let me see. I'm going to pull this up here. Maybe this will be a good thing here. This is something that I looked up the statistics on this. I'm not sure where this is going. Let's see. It's weird. It's right here. Got that there. Got this here. Let me see if I pull this up. What do I have here? Crazy. Can't pull that up, but let's see. Sorry, I'm having some technical glitches. I'm not a tech person. I am a life insurance person, so I can answer any questions about life insurance, but as far as technology, you might be on your own on that front. Anyway, I was just pulling up the stat where it shows 850 kids every day in the U.S. under the age of 18 lose a parent. Roughly 6,000 kids a week. This according to Evermore 2022 data, and I was showing how easy it is to and inexpensive it is to get life insurance. And my big push is if you have kids under the age of 18 that you take the 15 to 20 minutes, spend the $20 to $50 a month to make sure that there's something in place, right? I think if more parents did that, then GoFundMe would be out of business. I'm not sure if you have any questions about life insurance, whether it is for parents with young kids or if you are a senior citizen, you have any questions about final expense. I'm more than qualified to answer either one of those. And I'm just going to pull up a quote in the meantime for a 35-year-old male for a 30-year term, which is what I recommend, just to take them all the way through to retirement. As you can see, the price would be $33.95. If they're in excellent health, you know, maybe they've got a few love handles, no medications of anything like that. But yes, that is how inexpensive it is to cover a family member or to cover yourself for your family. Let me check one more thing here. Okay, that is good. All right, so it covers that, but it doesn't. All right, well there's no one on here right now. So I'm not sure if I should go over the same spiel over and over again, but I can indeed. Let's take a look at some of the more common life insurance questions, if we will. All right, what are some life insurance questions that are being asked online? Maybe that can, since everybody's shy, we can see if there are any questions online that maybe you guys also have questions about. It's possible, right? It's possible there are questions online that you have already asked. So let's see. All right, let's see. What do we have here? I'm going to take a look at some recent posts and see what we have. Oh yes, Tasha asked. Tanisha Adams asked about Globe Life Insurance. I'm going to answer her. Let's see. Take a look here. Okay. I'm going to send her a message. I did a video on Globe Life Insurance. Okay. And I will pull this up. Senior citizens really need to look out for this. I've seen so many people fall for this over the years. It's insane. All right, so if you're looking for life insurance and you get a lot of quotes and they're all relatively the same, then all of a sudden you find one that's a lot less expensive, you really, really need to read the fine print. This is for a 65-year-old male, $20,000 worth of coverage. It shows $75.61, which is about $25 to $30 less expensive than most other companies, right? So it looks like it's a great deal. It looks like it's a fantastic deal. But if you see right here, and this might be too small for you, read the policy description. Now, if you click on the policy description, it's going to say that this is a modified term policy that will last until you're 80 years old. And after the first year, the price is going to increase. After the 5th year, the price is going to increase until you eventually cancel it. So for this 65-year-old male, if he was looking at a company like Mutual of Omaha, which is who I recommend, it would be $109.76 at the age of 65. Now, if he gets this policy at the age of 65, it's going to be $75.61. At the age of 66, it's going to be $100.80. At the age of 71, it's going to go up to 136, and at the age of 76, it's going to go up to 186.17. And then at the age of 80, it's going to cancel, and more than likely, it's not going to be insurable again. So if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. And I would always read the fine print. I'm not going to name the name of this company. You know who it is. Everybody knows who this is. But just be on the lookout. If you have any questions about life insurance, feel free to reach out to me and I will do my best to help you. Thanks a lot. Senior citizen. All right. Hmm. All right. Well, no one is joining the chat, but all right. So I'm going to step away since no one's joining the chat. And if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll go ahead and mute this. Where is my mute button? Right Sorry, welcome to the channel. I was just taking a quick break here. I've gone through the how inexpensive life insurance is and how important it is for parents to have it. But if you have any questions, life insurance related or otherwise, feel free to ask. My primary focus is people who have kids under 18. I think those are the ones who need life insurance the most. And I think if they actually sat down and thought about what would happen to the family in the event of their death, which is hard to do, no one wants to think about that, then more parents would actually have a life insurance policy in place. So that is pretty much what I've been discussing. I've also gone through the top 20 questions that parents often have about life insurance. So if you got any of those questions, feel free to ask. I'll be happy to go over it again. If you need an idea of what life insurance would cost for you or how fast it is to apply, you're more than welcome to ask that question as well. But, all right, so I pulled up a quote for a 35-year-old male just to give you an idea of how much it costs. 35-year-old male, 30-year policy, $500,000, which is about $490,000 more than what a GoFundMe would raise. So it takes 10 to 15 minutes to fill out the application, protected. That way the kids will be protected, will have income available, and the other parent won't be in a horrible situation. So that is how inexpensive it is. The application process is pretty straightforward. This is for Banner Term, by the way. I don't know if you caught that part of it, but Banner Term is one of the top companies in the U.S. as far as term coverage is concerned. There's a couple other companies. Oh, and I lost you. I lost you. All right. Keep losing people. But that's okay. I want to keep going until the I might drop this live and come up with a new one. Let me see. Let me see if I can come up with a new thumbnail for a presentation. Let me see. Maybe I have one actually. Go. No. I'm gonna pull this up real fast. Yeah, I'm thinking about starting a new live on here. Just to maybe try a different thumbnail. All right, here's how to tell. There we go. Perfect. This will do it. Okay, perfect. I think that'll do it. I'm going to stop this one.